This is the touchline on Y251. My name is Maxwell Wasike. We're glad to exclusively speak to someone who forms an integral part as far as Kenyan football is concerned, a man who pioneered an initiative of Jaza Study, an entity that seeks to rally supporters to show up in various stadiums during football matches, and of course that man is called Bramwell Karamoja. Good to speak to you, Bram.
Thank you
Maybe
so much.
what inspired you coming up with such kind of an arrangement?
Thank you so much, Maxwell, for having me. Basically, I'm a sports fan. I've played football in this country. I've played for Gor Mahia the year 2006 up to 2009. So I draw my inspiration from the fact that I'm a #1 sports fan, and then I have passion to develop and grow the sports industry in this country. Because I believe as a person that if we are able to get the sports industry sorted, we will create employment to the youths of this country, and we will not have to beg for jobs, because it's an industry on its own.
We've seen Jaza Study doing exceptionally well as far as, rallying supporters to show up during National Super League matches, and there has been an outcry from other entities like KPL and even national team. When do you seek extending your arrangement to such kind of, organization, so that, it's not a kind of segregation per se?
Okay, basically we are not only focusing on the National Super League, and it's not only about football. So far we've done activations for the National Super League, and we've done also the KPL. Now the problem we're having with the KPL is that we had to sort the agreement between the Kenya Premier League Limited and Jaza Study as an initiative. For the National Super League it's a bit easy because you deal with the clubs direct. But for the KPL, you have to deal with the clubs, and then you have to deal with the limited company that is the KPL. So we've not had so many activations for the KPL matches, but we've had one in Kericho which was very successful.
And in terms of, reaching Football Kenya Federation so that you partner well for the success of the entity, have you managed doing that? And if not, what's the progress like?
Yeah, we've already had we've had several meetings with the Football Federation, because for us to touch the league, you have to speak to the fathers of the league. So we got their blessings. We have a letter from the federation, and so far we are doing all our activations with the blessings of the federation.
And what has been the secret behind your success? Of course, you just pioneered like a few months ago, and it is seen, much success and victory, especially at National Super League level.
Yeah.
What has been the driving factor behind your victory so far?
I wouldn't say that we are successful yet. We've just started, as you say. The driving factor, I believe, is the fact that all the solutions to the problems we're having in the stadium lies with us, because as I've told you before, it's an industry that we need to grow. You understand that if you work backwards. The other day I was watching the inauguration, sorry to say, and the stadium was filled to capacity. So I was doing my calculations as a Kenyan that if everyone attended the league matches as they attended the inauguration, and everyone paid only 100 bob, that is 6.5 million. If you look at a stadium like Kasarani, for example, it's a 65,000 capacity seater. So if you're having full attendance on match day and you're charging everyone 100 bob, that is 6.5 million in one game. So let's assume you are FC Leopards, or let's assume you are Thika United and you are the home team, and you manage to have like 3 games in a month. That is 6.5 times 3. That is almost 20 million. So as a home team, as a club, if you're having 20 million a month, why should I not pay my players 500,000 shillings a month? That is the problem that you're having as a society, because I believe the attendance, the low turnout in our stadiums is because of us as fans. Yes, the clubs have not done their part in terms of marketing, but nowadays, if you want to know if Thika United is playing, they have their social media handles. There's Jaza Study handles. There's the Kenya Premier League. They have their fixtures on there. So I believe as fans, we've not done enough to help this industry grow. And that is why we started this initiative as Jaza Study, because I believe the problems to our football lies with us. So we have to start with us, and then it will roll out to the clubs.
And there has also been underwhelming fan turnout, especially in other sporting disciplines like athletics. Though during World Under-18 Championships in Kasarani, there was full attendance, but during local athletics events and even other sporting disciplines like hockey, basketball, do you seek extending your initiative to other disciplines as well, like
Yeah,
even rugby?
definitely. The reason we've started with football is because it's the easiest sport to, because basically Kenyans are sports-loving people, and football being the #1 sport, we decided that let's start with football as a case study and then roll out to other disciplines like hockey, as you mentioned. We have basketball, we have rugby, we have athletics. But first we had to understand that why are Kenyans not attending these matches? We did a survey and asked people why they're not going to the stadiums. And the ladies will say there are no toilets, basic things like toilets, which is very genuine. Some people will tell you that there's security issues, which is again a genuine concern. But I always ask them, when you talk about security, are you not being sincere to yourself? Because when you're talking about security, for me, it's only Gor and FC, which is a high-risk match. And the last time Gor played FC at Nyayo Stadium, there was no issues of security. Yes, it is it's a high-risk match, but even in Europe, we see these things happen. We saw Liverpool fans fighting in Istanbul. So these are things that happen, but just a study, together with the federation, we are trying to see how we can manage that.
And probably branding and marketing of our sport has been the main undoing, and probably it has contributed immensely towards low fan turnout. What do you think should be done going forward in order to attract supporters during games and during sporting events?
One, I believe that clubs should do fans recruitment drives, because you'll find even I always want to rely to Europe because they're doing it and it's successful. For us, what you're doing as just a study is we're trying to create the atmosphere first, because why would I want to bring my wife to the stadium, for example, when she can go to the salon or she can take the kids to the mall? So we want to create that environment first. Let the atmosphere be attractive, so that you're not coming just for the game, you're coming for the atmosphere. I think that is what happens also in Europe. So what we're doing as just a study, we're trying to bring in entertainment. So that, for example, I don't enjoy the Kenyan game. It's a genuine concern. So what should I do to make you come? I'll bring in an artist, for example. If you love gospel, I make sure I go and get the greatest gospel singer, bring them to the stadium. If you have kids, I make sure that I have, for example, say, bouncing castles. So that instead of you taking the kids to the mall, I'm telling you that let's support the game, let's grow the industry, but as you do that, let's come and have fun. So let's just go on a family day out.
And talking about the tranquility in terms of atmosphere during home games, of course you formerly played for Gor Mahia, and Gor Mahia alongside FC Leopards are teams that has been associated with some sort of hooliganisms that are scared, of even family coming up and showing up at stadia with their people to have fun. Sports nowadays is about entertainment.
That's right.
As well. What do you think the two clubs and stakeholders of the two should do to ensure that they restore confidence among the supporters? And
it's the same thing. If I tell you that we are going to watch an entertaining game at Kasarani when FC Leopards is playing Thika United, I'll be lying to you, because there's so many factors involved. One, the infrastructure is very poor. You find a ground like Ruaraka, I don't think it's up to standards, So if you're telling me that I'm going to watch a game at Ruaraka and I expect entertainment, I'll be lying to myself. But I believe that if we grow the industry in terms of you and I attending, we are two here. Let's attend the games. Let's grow the industry. I've given you the calculations from Kasarani. Let's make FC Leopards, Gor Mahia, Thika United self-reliable. Let them have the funds. Then they grow their own infrastructure. Then let's ask those questions. Because it all begins with you and me.
Now, there is an ongoing tournament in the name of Sekafa Senior Challenge Cup, and we've seen various games, especially at Kenyatta Stadium in Machakos, low fan turnout. They didn't. Why did you decide not to come to the rescue of the organizers of this particular championship, so that we can attract much crowds like it was seen during the first game and open at Buhungu Stadium in Kakamega County? Again,
the national team is a big entity. We sat down with the federation before the tournament started, and we had a plan for Sekafa. But there's some things that we have to sort out, contracts and all those things, which took a bit of time. But if you ask me, in my honest opinion, Sekafa was supposed to be played in Kakamega, Buhungu Stadium, Kisumu, Moi Stadium, and Machakos, which came later. In all honesty, I'll be very honest with you, football has a huge following in Western region. If I was the organizer of the competition, we saw the turnout in the first game where Harambee Stars played Rwanda.
Yes.
And we beat Rwanda 2-0. The turnout was there. The fans were there. The fans were the 12th man and they pushed the team to beat Rwanda. The next match they took it to Machakos. What happened? It was a draw. I'm not saying that we drew because we didn't play well. I believe that the 12th man would have made a difference. Now, we are in the semi-finals. The semi-finals, I think, are being played in Kisumu, which is a very good thing. The finals are being played in Machakos again. If I were the organizer, I would take back the finals in Buhungu, and you'll see the turnout. With or without Kenya in the finals, Buhungu will still be full. Because in Western, we have that culture of sports. You know, other regions will take time to adapt that. Nairobi people are a bit, I call them slay kings and queens, because you know, we are lazy. In Nairobi, we are basically lazy, and we don't treat our players as stars. But these players, when they go to other regions, they are treated as stars. They are treated as celebrities. That is what we need.
And talking about Nairobians being slay kings and queens,
yes,
we've seen several musical concerts and, you know, performance by overseas, you know, artists. You know, full attendance, and despite the cost associated with entrance, there is full attendance. Do you think sporting fraternity can borrow a leaf from organizers of such initiatives so that it can also be replicated in sporting world locally?
It's the same thing. If Davido came to perform here today at Kasarani, the stadium will be full. Have Jua Kali perform in Kasarani, you'll barely have not more than 2,000 people. Again, we don't treat our own people as stars and celebrities until they go outside. I've attended shows abroad where Kenyan artists have gone to perform there and they're full. Because here we basically don't appreciate our own. I went to Harambee Stars camp last month when they were camping at Kenya Monetary Studies.
Yes. And
I was speaking to Teddy Akumu. I spent 1 hour talking to Teddy. There was no Kenyan who passed and even said hi to Teddy. Until one South African guy came and said, "Are you playing for the national team?" He said, "Yes." Then he said, "You are a star. Can I just have an autograph?"
Sure.
The boy nearly cried because he's never experienced that. When they went to play in Thailand, they had autographs signing every time they played a match. But we can't do that here because we're used to them. That is the problem. We have to start treating our players as stars. And that is what we're doing as Jaza Study as well. We are packaging them. We're doing interviews with them. We are talking to them. We want to do what they're doing, what problems they're having. Let's elevate them and make them stars. Then we'll appreciate.
What can we do to instill that kind of mentality in amongst Kenyans so that they can appreciate and start, you know, realizing that they need to give credit to their very own?
You see, it's a character. It's a character, and it's not easy to change character. But what I believe is, if you change that attitude, if I change that attitude, I believe the next person will do it, your family will do it, and that is how we will cultivate that culture amongst the sports industry. Because if for example, I have so many players who are my friends, but even in that friendship, we still have that respect. I still look at them as stars. I still go for them. I still go to them for advice. They still come to me for advice. We have to learn how to appreciate that. You as the media, you have to help us as well. Call these players. Instead of calling the politicians every day for interviews, start calling sports people for interviews. Talk to them. Let them tell you what they're doing. Let them tell you how much they're earning even in their clubs. And then we'll appreciate them. If the news is giving you 15 minutes of politics, let's cut it to 10 and 10 for sports. That will be the difference.
Overall, what do you make of Kenyan sporting scene and organization of the same?
It's pathetic. We're still far away. The other day we lost a very good opportunity to host Chan, which I don't know why, but I won't go there. But honestly, we're still very far away. But I believe in baby steps. We've started now with initiatives like Jaza Study. We want people to adapt such initiatives. We're individuals. We're not even, it's not a company. We're just individuals who want to change the attendance in the stadiums. We want the government to take up sports very seriously because we're talking of creating employment for the youth. This is an industry that we can solve. If we solve the sports industry, we've created almost half employment opportunities for the youth of this country.
Your parting shot as far as maybe going forward with your initiative is concerned?
Going forward is I would appeal to stakeholders and companies, corporates to come and even support our initiative, because basically what you're doing is we are funding this project entirely from our pockets. We've done activations at Camp Toyoyo, in Kericho, in Kisumu, from our pockets. It's not cheap. One activation will cost us almost $500,000 just to bring in artists, logistics, and all these things. So if we had people to come on board and support us, we have these hoodies which we are selling just to raise funds. We came up with this idea to sell hoodies just to enable us raise funds for these activations. But if we had the money, we'll be holding activations in Nairobi every weekend, in Kisumu every weekend, in Mombasa every weekend, and every other part of this country. So I'm just appealing to the stakeholders, the government, and anyone involved in the sports industry in this country. Let's take sports as a serious business, because there's a lot of money. Today, if a player from Gor Mahia married your daughter, or they came for dowry negotiation, you'll say no. But if Wanyama called you and said, I'm Victor Wanyama, I want to marry your daughter, you'll give him 3. That is how serious this business is. There's money in this industry. If we sort that, we're good.
Quality conversations you don't want to miss on the touchline on Y25. Of course, we've been speaking to Bramwell Karamoja, a stakeholder of Kenyan Game, and of course he also played for Gor Mahia before, and he's the pioneer and founder of Jaza Study. Thank you for your time, all the best. We shall be looking forward to speak to you for further update on the same, to see how you guys progress. Thanks,
Thank
bro.
you so much.
Cheers, man.
Asante sana.